Hi there, I'm Rod Bergeron, and thanks for joining me for another quick and easy watercolor painting. I really appreciate you stopping by and checking it out. So I'm wetting the top 2/3 of this page, big 3/4 inch flat watercolor brush, and I'm going to pick up some Payne's gray. And I'm just going to swoop it across like that. I'm not going to try to augment it too much. I'm going to take this brush and put it into the water and back out because I need to pick up a little bit of extra water. And I'm going to touch this, which is my crimson red, okay? And we just need a little bit of crimson red across the horizon like that. Not any more than that. I'm going to rinse that brush back out. And I'm going to pick up a little bit more Payne's gray, all right? So across where that horizon line is and that crimson, I'm going to touch this Payne's gray and make it a little bit more intense than that. I'm going to touch this Payne's gray onto that horizon line, and we're just going to let that bleed to wherever it is it wants to bleed to, okay? And we're not going to try to augment it. We're just going to tap it on there and let it do its own thing, all right? And so its own thing should be that it's bleeding from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. And that's what we're going for. You see how it's starting to come out of there and up into the sky. That's what we're going for. Okay, so we're going to take this brush and put it into our Payne's gray, and we're going to put a nice light line across there, Payne's gray, all right? And again, we're just going to let that bleed off to wherever it is it's going to go to. I'm going to rinse this brush out, and I'm going to pick up some sienna, fairly intense sienna, and I'm going to touch this sienna. Need a little bit more intense than that. I'm going to touch this sienna across this horizon line, wherever it is that you think you want your sienna trees to be. Okay, so we're kind of going for a early spring kind of a look here. Nothing's really growing yet, and we have this sort of very early evening pinkiness to the sky, which we get quite often here, okay? I just swooped that sienna, so this is burnt sienna, across there again, and we're just letting it bleed to wherever it is it's going to go to. I'm going to pick up a little bit more, slightly more saturated sienna from my palette. And again, I'm just going to tap that in a few places, and I'm going to do the same across here. Okay, we're letting that bleed off to wherever it is it wants to go to. We're trying to not augment it too much at all. You can see what we're getting back in here. That's some really nice looking undergrowth that we have there. Okay, this is yellow ochre, and I'm picking it right up off my palette, and I'm just going to tap it in a few places. I'm going to do the same thing here. Yellow ochre, a couple of places with some yellow ochre, and we're going to let that just bleed off to wherever it is it wants to go to. Now, I rinsed this brush out pretty well. This is, again, still with my 3/4 inch flat, and I'm going to pick up some, this is a very thin, super thin sort of Payne's gray wash, and I'm going to put this flat onto the page, and so I'm going to try to just go from one side to the other, sort of jagged, like that. Now I'm going to pick up the Payne's gray slightly more intense, and that's what I'm going to do. Just swoop it across like that. I'm going to put a little bit more intense Payne's gray, just in a few places like that. And you can see what this pink has started to bleed up into that sky. We've got this really nice sort of bleeding thing going on there. All right, I just rinsed my brush out really well, and I just want to go across that line. I don't really want that hard line that was on there. I'm going to pick up a little bit more Payne's gray. I'm just going to go across there like that. That's it. Okay. I think I'm going to do one more thing here before I let this dry. And I'm just going to put a little bit of, so this is Payne's gray, and you can see I'm tapping it onto those few places there like that. And I'm going to take my #1 watercolor brush, and I've sharpened the one end of it with the utility knife. Just going to put a few scribe lines in a few places along there. Create a little bit of, growth that's sort of near us. Now you could use whatever you want to use in here. You could use sienna, black, even something like Van Dyke brown, whatever, anything like that. You just want to scribe in something that's going to be close to you. All right. Now we're going to let this completely dry. All right, let's check this out. Look at what this scribe lines across here have done. That pink in the background back there has bled into that sky. And you have all this tree line in the background here, this little bit of bleeding around there. That's pretty cool. And how those look like those are way back in the background, and then you have these tree line that's a little bit closer to us. And that negative space across there really sort of makes it like there's another field. So this is one field, and then there's this tree line here, and then there's another field that's that white across there. I think that really worked for us. But I think we can do more to this particular painting. And the more that I want to do is I want to add some pine trees across here. Now, you may have seen me do this before, but I'm going to draw a couple of lines like this. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is add, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 trees, just sort of in spots like that. I think I can put another one here, maybe a little bit taller. All right, and the way that we're going to do this is we're going to use a small brush. So I'm going to use this, which is a #1 round, and I scribe with this quite often, but I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to take a little bit of Payne's gray. So a very tiny bit on a tiny brush. And the objective here is to work from the left to the right. And I guess that's if you're right-handed. If you're left-handed, you would move in the other direction. But I'm just going to put some dots like that, okay? So this would be stippling, and I'm just going to stipple in some fairly light foliage on these pine trees. And like I said, we're just going to move sort of back and forth like that until we get the height of the tree that we're going for, okay? So this is in Northern Ontario. We have these scrawny spruce trees that grow in bogs and stuff, and so they grow really tall like that, but there's almost no branches on the bottom couple of feet. Sometimes the bottom 10, 12 feet have no branches on them at all. Okay, so then we're going to go from one end to the other, just like that. And so I'm trying to not touch every space, and you get to decide how tall you want these, okay? And then we're going to dry this, okay? I'm going to dry this with my hair dryer and come right back. All right, so that just took like maybe about 10 seconds to dry. And this time I'm going to make, I got some sap green here, and I'm just going to go, now I'm going to go and touch the spaces that don't currently have any paint on them, okay? So I'm going to try to go, again, I'm going to go from the bottom to the top and from left to right. And I'm trying to think about having tall, skinny pine trees, okay? So again, left to right, top to bottom. And you don't want to make them too uniform. Trees are not uniform. Trees are, these sort of naturally growing objects that aren't naturally growing individuals that aren't really symmetrical at all. They're sort of just, growing in a variety of different directions in a variety of different ways. And the first paint that you have put on there is maybe just background. Just think of it as that would be sort of the back side of the tree. And I'm just going to change some of these a little bit, maybe put a little bit more of that green in here. All right, that's pretty cool. And then you could always take a little bit of that green and, you know, put a little bit of it on the ground here, just stippling it again. You know, add a little bit of variation in what's on the ground here, just like that. All right. So that really, when you put those trees in there, it really pushes that everything that's in the background a lot further back, okay? So everything back here becomes that much further back by installing those trees across there. All right, let's get our mat. All right, put our mat on there. All right, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I really like those trees and what those trees have done for us across there. I'd love to know what you think of it. Let me know in the comments section. And I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know where you're from. If you could drop me a comment in the comments section, let me know where you're from. I'd really appreciate it. And as always, if you're currently a subscriber, thanks a lot. If you're not currently a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks a lot for watching today, and I hope I see you again next time. Bye for now. Now look at that negative space across there. And this negative space, it looks like this is very close to us, and then there's a field, and then there's a tree line, and then there's another field back there, and that's what these trees are on the far side of it. So it really builds a lot of distance in there. All right, thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you again next time.